Hello everyone, this is C# beginner tutorial number 3. So on this tutorial I will show you the different types of message boxes, or you can call them alerts or prompts, either way. Uh, the difference between this tutorial and the previous one we use a console application. On this tutorial we're going to be using Windows Form application. So before we start, if you have any questions, if you're looking for other solutions, other tutorials, if you need support, or if you want to get in touch with us, go ahead and visit our blog, which is softwarevertnow.com. In here you'll find the Learning Center where all of the beginner tutorials are. There are some different solutions, C# tutorial, beginner lessons, database tutorials. There are videos, source code, and you can always contact us. So let's get started. Just so you're aware of it, these tutorials are on our Learning Center. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you see this current one we're working on, which is tutorial number 3. Let's go ahead and click on that. So let's get started. So go ahead and open your Visual Studio and create click Create New Project. All right. As I mentioned before, this project is going to be a little bit different because we're not going to be using console application. We're going to be using Windows Form, and let's name it message box type, and go ahead and click OK to create your project. Give it a minute or two to build your project. All right, once your project is finished building, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look pretty similar to the console application setup with the Solution Explorer on the right side, where you can see the files of this project. Now, this type of project has a form. So it's going to look like an actual Windows application instead of just a black box with letters in it. This one also includes the program.cs file and includes the form one.cs file. So one other item that you want to make sure to add this to make it convenient for you is near the start button. There's a small drop down here. And you click add and remove buttons. I like to add these buttons for future references, which is a Solution Explorer, Property Windows, Toolbox. These are the ones that I use the most, and I like to have them handy up here. So, all right, let's get started. Let's go ahead and click on our toolbox. So on the toolbox, there's multiple type of tools that you can add to your solution, to your project, okay? So once you click here, you click all Windows Form drop down. There's pointers, there are date pickers, there are lists, there's all kinds of tools that you can use in your project. So let's go ahead and type on search button. So, and let's drag and drop a button to your form. All right, let's give it a second. Let's make this button bigger. To resize the form here just to make it a little nicer. All right, now right click, select the button and select the property Windows menu up here, or if you right click on it and click properties, and let's go ahead and hide this for now. Let's go ahead and see there's a name up here. All right, let's change it. All right, so there's a name field called button 1. Let's name it BTN BTN run. Okay, this is the name. So this is behind the scenes. This is what the button is called. Now let's change this text, which is button 1, to just run. Okay. So now you have a button that is ready to run. Now to get to each button has a click event. So every time you click, it calls a function or it does something. So let's go ahead and create the click event by double clicking the button to take to your code. All right, so as you can see, I'm inside the button run click event. Every time I click the button, the run button, this function it's gonna be called, and whatever's inside here, it's gonna happen. All right. So let's start with the basic message box. So the basic message box is just type message box dot show, and inside parentheses I'll display the message. So hello world, for example. Oops. Alright, so you are all set for this point of the tutorial. Let's go ahead and run our project by clicking the start button on top. Give it a second till you builds and run your project. You should see a form looking just like this with the button in the middle. All right, once your project finishes building, it's like I said, a form is going to pop up with the button in the middle. So go ahead and click the button. So this is the most basic message box that there is in C Sharp. What it does is it's pretty much there's a message and an OK button on it, and all you do is click OK. So usually you can use this for warnings, for confirmation, for anything like that. So let's tweak a little bit. I mean, it is not so much. So this hello button, this hello world message box is pretty simple. So if you open up our blog and go to Learning Center and then click on C Sharp Lesson 3 type of message boxes, you will there are multiple code here. So let's go ahead and and copy just the first one, which is supposed to be a bit more complicated, not complicated, but a bit more to it message box. So, but what I'll do is I'll make it simple and just make it a OK message box with the OK message. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to comment this out here for now. So what this message box does is it's the same one as the hello world one here. So let's put the hello world here. Let's run it. I'll show you. I'll run it first so you can see the difference and what it looks like. So in this one, this is a bit different because it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue result box. That's what I like to call it. So if you click run, as you can see, the hello world still shows up. We still have the OK button, but now on this one, there is a title. So if you need a message box with a title, you might want to use a dialog result instead of a message box. Now I'll be showing you the variations of the dialog result box. All right. So on this one, all we have it's an OK button. So let's go ahead and erase this OK and the dot on this function. If you just type the dot, it's going to give you the options of the message boxes or the options that the users could click on. So there's abort and retry and ignore. There's an OK, which is the one we just used. There's OK and cancel. There's retry and cancel. There's yes and no. And there's yes, no, and cancel. So let's go ahead and pick a yes and no box, right? With the yes and no box, there's two options. You can either click yes or no. So let's just say on the dialog box, the result is the result of variable here. It's either going to be yes or no. So on the if statement, so we first got to check if it's either yes or we got to check if it's a no. Right? If it's yes, it does something. If it's a no, it does something else. All right? So let's go ahead and run and see what it looks like. All right, let's see what it looks like. Actually, no, let's do something here. So just so you guys can see what it looks like when I click different ones. So let's do console dot write line. So here's yes, and console.writeLine, and this is no. I'll put a breakpoint here. If you don't know what the breakpoint is, a breakpoint helps us walk through the code line by line to find where the bugs are, or so we can really understand what our code is doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the application once again. I want to show you what happens when you click yes and what happens when you click no on this example here. All right, so we're back. So let's go ahead and click run. Once I click run, the message box, it prompts me. As you can see, it's slightly different, right? On this case, there's a yes and a no button. The message is the same, the title is the same. By the way, this is where you change the title. I haven't changed the title for this example, so I'm gonna go ahead and click yes, and the debug is gonna take me back to my code. As you can see, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna debug. I'm gonna step over to my, I'm on the debug. As you can see, the yes if statement gets executed right there. So, and the no, it won't get executed. And if I hit continue up here, and this time I'm gonna click run and click no. And this time, as you can see here, let's see what the result is. See, as you can see, result is no, right? So if I step over my code, now the no, it's gonna get, this line is gonna get executed, not this one. All right, so let's go ahead and click OK. And let's just do one more with three options I'd like to show you. So let's erase this, click the dot, or let's just so you guys know, this is the title of the message box. And let's go ahead and choose one that says abort, retry, and ignore. All right, so make sure you change this to abort, retry, oops, retry, and then you can do just an else here. And this is going to be the ignore. So this is going to be the abort, retry, oops, retry, and ignore. So bottom line is, what's going to happen is, it's going to be a message box or a dialog result box with three options: abort, retry, and ignore. If you click abort, it's going to execute this line. If you click retry, it's going to execute this line, and else, which means if it's not abort or not retry, it's going to be an ignore. So let's go ahead and run it and step through the code to see what it looks like. All right, so we're here now. So I'm going to click the button run. So as you can see, now the title of the message, so I changed it here so you guys can see. The message is still the same, hello world. Now I have three options: abort, retry, ignore. So if I click abort, as you guys can see, I'm going to step over my code. It's going to execute this line and none of the other two. All right, let's go ahead and click continue. Now, if I click retry, it's going to execute this middle line. There you go. So it's executing the retry and it's skipping the next one, and also it skipped the abort. Let's go ahead and click continue, and let's go ahead and click run. And once again, if I click ignore, it's going to skip this one, this line, and this line of code, and it's going to execute this one. As you can see, the result, it is ignore. So let's go ahead and step over it and execute ignore. All right, that's it for today. There are many different type of message boxes with different buttons you can use over here. Once you switch this, you can pick different ones. You can pick different options here for your message box. Just make sure you change your dialog result here, because you want to, it could be yes, no, it could be abort, retry, it could be a cancel. So that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, drop a comment below or visit our blog, email us. All right, thank you very much.